Good morning. Namaste. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sadhana, and this is the 10th day of my Advent calendar. And today, one of the things that I would like to encourage you to do, kind of going along with yesterday's theme, and that is diving into more of the decks in your library. And I know a lot of you do have a lot of them, and if you don't, this is also an invitation to use more, use all of them. And I have chosen for you today the deck we used yesterday, along with another deck that has a dream theme. And to compare and contrast decks for your response, your reaction to the cards in terms of, well, what if I wanted to ask the tarot about my dreams? What if I wanted to get clarity on my dreams, understand them archetypally? What if I had a practical question about my dreams? Which of these two decks would do a better job in responding to that? And like I said about the Mystical Dream Tarot, I didn't say that it was based in Jungian psychology. I didn't talk about that. It's a very different approach to dreams than the deck on the right. The deck on the right is the Philarkos Tarot, which is more based on the concept of dreams that were analyzed by particular, I'm trying to think of the name, Philarkos, Philarkos, who helped us to process what we were moving through in the dream realm. And these are different eras, different approaches to dream psychology, and both really interesting decks in their own right. Is there one that might be better for a different kind of dream than the other? And I'm sure across many of your decks you have themes, and you could ask, even if your decks weren't specifically, it didn't speak to dreams in the title, you could do something similar. And I would choose another one that might be really good for this is the Lonely Dreamer Tarot, which has got sort of a nice blend of dark and colorful images. That would fit really well into this as well. And there are other kind of, I don't know what the word is. There's a bit of a mist and a fog and a mystery in the tarot deck that helps us to not define lines really clearly. I don't think this is a kind of a question for clear or contemporary illustrations. This is a kind of a question for decks that blur the lines a little bit. More original artwork that might fit here as well too. And so what I want to do over the next few minutes is just kind of go through. I'm going to name the major arcana are in order here, and just get some responses about how you might feel approaching these images in your dreams, or if they reflect something you may have seen in your dreams. And as you look at this Fool card, just take a few breaths and see if you can relax your physical body, maybe even blurring your vision a little bit. And I see something similar with the blue colors. They're kind of hazy. Something interesting with the lips of the Fool on the right, mirroring the snake on the left. And of course, I would never want to, I don't know, I don't usually see snakes in my dreams. Symbolically, it's really beautiful, but there's something about the I also see a real innocence in the Fool on the right, almost a childlike quality. So the exercise here is to take out 2 decks and to spend some time finding one that might better suit helping you to process what you just experienced in your dreams. And there's something here that's coming quite clear for me as I look at these images. And it could be because I've studied one deck and not the other. This is the Empress, and one Empress has a child in front. Cleva says, this morning I had a roach crawling over me in my dreams. It was very real. Oh, wow. How interesting that the Emperor, so this is kind of cool in both of these cards. On the left, the Emperor is almost commanding the waves. And while the Emperor is has the color orangey red for the Divine Masculine, how often do you see so much water in an Emperor card? In the Falarcos Tarot, there is a mirror, a large mirror behind, and a small mirror in front. And you might, with mirror, pick up water, right? Reflections. I know you might pick up another element as well too. But there's something here about this divine, powerful Divine Masculine card inquiring into working with the feminine. Something quite different here. Which deck feels like it might respond and really help me to learn something about the mystery of my dreamscape? This is the Hierophant. And I really feel the energy of a hermit almost in the left. So why is the color pink emanating here so brilliantly? This is the Chariot. It is a predominant color in the deck on the left, but a very unusual color for the Chariot, and I can see that pink of the card on the left reflecting the pink of the cup of the flower of the chariot on the right. How would it feel to have your chariot pushed rather than pulled? Pushed rather than guided? Eight, justice. It is almost like a wheelchair, yeah. In this Hermit card, there's a really interesting portal here, which is mirrored in the shape of the face in the background painting and the Hermit on the right. This is the wheel. Sophia and strength. Yeah, and a child in the Hermit. There's a dance, I feel, in both of these cards. The card on the right is one of my favorites from the deck, and it's almost as if you are in the laboratory, playing with the limbic scent. It's the mask that's kind of haunting, though, for me in that card. Now, this is indeed the tower. It is not death. And there is what looks like a rod, a tree, going straight through the spinal column of where it would be. This is very interesting because I'm seeing the moon or something in the mouth of the skull. And notice how the energy of the tower on the right is released through the mouth. It's released through the voice. In both of these cards, I feel as if we are allowing something to wash away. We are gazing back and yet moving on. Sun. And when you look at these cards, where do you feel the energy of the card? And that will be different for each of you. And I want to ask you this: how many of you remember what I suggested yesterday in response to the inquiry and the reading? And did you follow through? Well, I went to bed really early last night. I haven't been feeling great, and I decided to just skip supper and go to bed. And as I was lying there and doing some self-Reiki, I began to recall all that happened during yesterday's reading, and I began to do some pranayama and deep breathing and feeling the energy around my chest, and realizing that there was a lot of tension in the heart space, and that perhaps the discussion of the nights and so forth was more pertinent than I realized. And a moment ago when I asked you where I felt it, I certainly felt this in the space of my heart. Hi, Casey. Okay. So, tarot tip for today is: do not be afraid to do a majors only reading. Especially when you are working with an archetypal. I mean, we can turn and look at the depth of all questions as archetypal. But once in a while, just take out your major arcana and go back and just do a reading with the major arcana. You can close your eyes, you can just listen. So yesterday in the reading there was a King of Cups, and the King of Cups had energy around their arms. They were sort of floating above the water, and the water was on fire, it looked like. And I said something about looking back and turning to Scorpio season and an incompleteness of a release that was required in order to find the contentment of the Six of Pentacles that was on the other side of Temperance. And a lot of you commented on Temperance and how you've been reflecting on this, and keep this energy in your physical being, in your energy space, a one of release and healing and being in alignment with the waning moon and deep and powerful reflection. And then go into your dreamscape of last night and take a breath in and a breath out. And I'm going to cut both decks, and I'm going to turn over one major from each deck. And is there something here that can help you to process what you may be ready to release? All right, you saw me shuffle these, and we've ended up with the same card from both decks. We've had a theme here that's been emerging. Hi Dee, welcome. And I talked a lot about the nights and the element of air and the energy of the heart space, and we were talking about the Knight of Wands yesterday and the Knight of Wands' role in temperance. What I didn't talk about was that sixth Sephira as being the planet of the sun. It's not the path of the sun, but it is the planet of the sun. And so drawing this card here today, and also this planet emphasizing the importance of the nurturing of the heart space, the energizing of the heart space, the heart chakra, perhaps the healing of the physical heart, greater awareness of breath, and this whole energetic space that unites the divine masculine and divine feminine. You might want to separate the upward facing and downward facing triangles, and then in your mind's eye watch them floating together and see how that feels as the cup lowers and the fire rises and those two shapes come together to form the hexagram. Does the energy of your dream space move from one place in your body to another? And does that movement of energy make you realize something different or expand on your previous feeling? Really interesting that the sun on the left looks an awful lot like a temperance card, with the harmony of the red and the blue, and the one on the right, really kind of unusual sun card. What if you look at the sun? And I want to say something else here too. The sun comes after the moon, right? In the major arcana. Why does the sun come after the moon? Not before the moon. But what I felt inclined to repeat was that the energy of the full moon, the energy of any moon, is not seen, is not felt without the presence of the sun. And I think that's an important thing to remember. Also, that this particular place on the tree of life, at the center of the tree of life, radiates out to everywhere else on the tree. Like your heart, your physical heart feeds every part of your body. So if your heart is not healthy, if your heart is not at peace, how can the rest of you be? Okay, so there's a few things that feel important to note here. One is that there are other ways to work with our tarot decks. Traditionally, it's really important to ask a question and sit down and shuffle and all of that. I will always say that's important. But sometimes there's different ways to get to a space that we need to get to. And remember what I said yesterday about reaching back for decks you haven't used in a long time, getting a little bit out of your comfort zone. Testing your limits, and I'm not reaching for guidebooks. I've got lots of resources that I could reach for both of these decks, but it's important to be quiet and just listen to what arises. For those of you that haven't studied with me, one of the things I do suggest for students is to turn on a voice memo and to speak your readings. It is so different to get your voice activated and to speak your interpretations or your readings or whatever's coming through. It really forces you to say what you need to say. And don't be afraid to do a majors only reading. And today, because I was comparing two decks, I drew one card from each deck, but certainly you could do a 3-card reading from just the majors. And if you would like me to demo that tomorrow, I'm happy to do that and do a majors only reading. Okay. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and welcome to Kelly Johnson. Lovely to have you here. Thank you. Namaste.